Formula One is back. Welcome to the Formula Bone F1 Show's 2022 Belgian Grand Prix podcast. I'm Jared Borislow, but you can call me J-Bone. Let's get into it, folks. J-Bone! Our first order of business today is getting to know the Belgian Grand Prix and its Circuit des Spa-Francorchamps, better known as just Spa. The Belgian Grand Prix was first run as a Formula One World Championship event back in Formula One's first ever season, the 1950 season, making it one of the 7 original Formula One Grand Prix. To make matters even cooler, the 1950 Belgian Grand Prix was held at Spa, making Spa one of just 4 circuits from the inaugural 1950 F1 season, still on the Formula One calendar today, with the other 3 being Silverstone, Monaco, and Monza. However, the Spa circuit layout Formula One raced on back in 1950 looked quite different than the one we will be racing on this weekend. In fact, Spa in 1950 was just over twice as long as present-day Spa. From 1950 to 1970, a lap around Spa was 14.12 kilometers or 8.77 miles in length. It's pretty wild to think that Spa is currently the longest circuit on the Formula One calendar at 7.004 kilometers or 4.35 miles in length, and it's less than half as long now as it was from 1950 to 1970. How wild is that? Aside from Spa, the Formula One Belgian Grand Prix has been held at 2 other Belgian circuits. It was held at Nivelles-Bolen, near Belgium's capital Brussels, 2 times in 1972 and 1974, before that circuit was deemed too boring to race at any longer, a problem we may be dealing with ourselves here soon. Shout out Monaco. And it was held at Circuit Zolder in northeast Belgium 9 times from 1975 through 1982, and then once again in 1984. Zolder's 9 years hosting the Belgian Grand Prix featured 2 of Formula One's major tragedies, with Osella mechanic Giovanni Amadeo passing away during the 1981 race weekend after falling into the path of Carlos Reutemann's Williams, and with Ferrari's high-profile driver Gilles Villeneuve passing away during the 1982 race weekend after colliding with March's Jochen Mass during qualifying. From 1985 through the present day, the Belgian Grand Prix has been held at Spa every single year, minus 2 years where the Grand Prix wasn't held at all. In 2003, the Belgian Grand Prix, interestingly, wasn't held solely because of Belgium's tobacco advertising laws, which I find super interesting. And in 2006, the Belgian Grand Prix wasn't held because Spa was being renovated, which I find significantly less interesting than that 2003 fact. Here are a few Belgian Grand Prix fun facts for you. Fact 1. The shortest race in Formula One history was last year's controversial 2021 Belgian Grand Prix, which officially clocked in at under 4 minutes in length. Under 4 minutes. It was officially classified as a shortened race that awarded half points to the top 10 finishers, despite not a single one of its 3 laps being run not behind a safety car. This debacle led to the shortened race rule changes we got ahead of the current season, where at least 2 non-safety car laps now must be completed in order for any points to be awarded at all, and where an increasing amount of points are now awarded depending on how many fourths of the race are completed before the race is officially ended. Speaking of that race, fact 2, the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix played host to the undeniable funniest moment in Formula One history. Nikita Mazepin was awarded the fastest lap award at the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix for a 3-minute, 18-second stonking lap done entirely behind a safety car. I should note that the fastest lap at the previous year's Belgian Grand Prix, run on the same circuit layout, was about half as long, clocking in at 1 minute, 47 seconds. Now, in a cruel twist of fate, this fastest lap award was later taken away from Nikita Mazepin on account of the lap being done entirely behind a safety car. And the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix is now officially the only ever Grand Prix in Formula One's history to have no officially recognized fastest lap. But while the FIA may have forgotten who got the fastest lap at the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix, as the Haas Twitter admin noted, the streets will never forget. And fact 3, the Belgian Grand Prix is one of the most consistently wet Grand Prix on the F1 calendar. At one point, the Belgian Grand Prix had a streak of 20 straight years of rain. And I should note that there is rain in the forecast at Spa for both this Friday and this Saturday right now. Now, onto the circuit itself. Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Stavelot, Belgium is 7.004 kilometers or 4.35 miles in length, and the Belgian Grand Prix will be contested over the course of 44 laps around its 14 turns. Spa features the most elevation change of any circuit on the F1 calendar, with 102.2 meters or 335 feet separating the lowest point on the track, which is turn 15, curve Paul Frere, from the highest point, which is turn 7, Malmedy. Speaking of Spa's turns, Spa features arguably the most famous series of corners in all of Formula One, Radillon de l'Eau Rouge, an absolutely picturesque left, right, left that drivers send full throttle up a massive blind hill. To be clear, Eau Rouge is the left-hand kink at the bottom of the hill, and Radillon is the uphill right-hander. I gotta feel bad for Radillon because Eau Rouge gets all the glory here. Everybody calls this series Eau Rouge when Radillon's doing all the uphill hard work, you know? Eau Rouge is just a nice little left-hander. Radillon's a freaking flying full throttle push up a blind hill. Radillon, you gotta fight for what's yours. Very unfair. You deserve more credit. You've probably seen this series of corners in F1 highlight videos before, even if this weekend will be your first time watching the Belgian Grand Prix live. It's a very, very, very famous portion of an F1 circuit. Fun fact, Eau Rouge translates from French to English as red water, and the corner got its name because a stream runs beneath the circuit at this corner that is colored red due to the presence of iron oxide in the water. And Radillon translates from French to English as steep road, and it got its name because it's a steep road. It's a bit more on the nose, huh? So Radillon de l'Eau Rouge got a little makeover between this year and last, with the layout staying the same, but with a lot of runoff being added for safety reasons, and so motorcycle racing could return to the circuit. And also, a new grandstand has been added as well at Radillon de l'Eau Rouge. Best seat in the house, right? If you're going to Spa and you're sitting in that new grandstand right at Radillon de l'Eau Rouge, please send me a picture. I really want to see what it's like. For tire compounds at the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix, Pirelli have opted for the neutral compound range for the third race in a row, the C2 hards, C3 mediums, and C4 softs. Pirelli Motorsport Director Mario Isola had this to say about their choice. Quote, "New changes bring new challenges, but the epic nature of Spa is still the same. This year, Spa has undergone some of the biggest changes we have seen since we started going there in the modern era of Formula One. But we know something of what to expect thanks to the 24-hour race last month, our biggest event of the year in terms of people and tires, as well as some asphalt samples that we have taken. In addition to some new asphalt on 5 corners, there are some new gravel traps on 4 corners, which are much closer to the side of the track. Drivers will need to pay more attention to track limits, and there's also an increased chance of sharp gravel being dragged onto the surface. The epic nature of Spa remains unchanged, though, with all the traditional challenges that make the circuit so exciting still in place. End quote. When your workday is shorter, you get to spend more time focusing on your hobbies and passions, and who doesn't want that? As your schedule fills up this fall with activities and obligations, you need all the time savers you can get, and I've got a huge one for you with this episode's sponsor, Grammarly. The free version of Grammarly offers comprehensive spelling, grammar, and punctuation suggestions, instantly proofreading and providing suggestions, so your writing always comes across as professional and mistake-free. You can also get an instant take on how your message comes across with Grammarly's free tone detector, so you'll always make the right impression. Grammarly, and I must stress this, Grammarly is 100% free to download and use as a desktop app and works where you do. Email, Google Docs, you name it, so you can work more efficiently on all your projects. It is seriously life-changing. And if you decide to upgrade, Grammarly Premium's clarity-focused sentence rewrites keep your writing clear and to the point, so you get through work emails and other projects quicker, less work, more time for life. Who doesn't want that? I use Grammarly every single time that I write episodes of the Formula Bone F1 show, and it allows me to spend more time doing my research for the show and less time writing because it saves me so much time writing. By telling me where I messed up, I don't need to go reread, proofread. It proofreads for me. I freaking love it. I'd like to also note that I have received a ton of feedback from my international audience who have found Grammarly incredibly helpful when it comes to writing in English as their second language, which has been so awesome to hear. I'm so happy that my sponsors can help out my audience. So get more time in your day with confidence in your work with Grammarly. Go to grammarly.com/fbone, that's F-B-O-N-E, to sign up for a free account. It's totally free. And when you're ready to upgrade to Grammarly Premium, get 20% off just for being a Formula Bone F1 show listener or viewer. That's 20% off at grammarly.com/FBONE. There's a link for that deal in the description of this episode. Next up, here are your storylines to follow for the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix. The first storyline, how will F1's flexi floor clampdown impact the race? If you're not familiar, I will quickly TLDR the whole flexi floor situation for you. Some teams, notably Mercedes, believe some other teams, notably Red Bull and Ferrari, have been using a quote-unquote flexi floor to take advantage of a loophole that would allow them to get away with their cars riding lower to the ground than is technically allowed by the rules. Though currently unsubstantiated, this theory could explain why some teams like Red Bull and Ferrari haven't been experiencing porpoising nearly as bad as some other teams like Mercedes have. The FIA released a statement on August 16th that said that starting at the Belgian Grand Prix, they'll be more closely monitoring porpoising and scrutinizing central floor flexibility more closely, which leaves open the possibility of a performance decrease from Red Bull and Ferrari if they indeed have been getting a performance boost from a flexi floor throughout the first half of this season and now must change their car setup so as to pass the new scrutineering. Mercedes fans will obviously be watching this saga very closely, as if, indeed, Ferrari and Red Bull are about to have performance decreases while Mercedes stays the same. Mercedes could pull off the comeback of all comebacks here in the second half of the season. The second storyline, will Charles Leclerc's title push begin at the Belgian Grand Prix? Ferrari have had a month to think long and hard about what they've done to poor Charles Leclerc's could have been title-winning season, still can be title-winning season, but Ferrari have done a lot of bad things to really give him some setbacks. This has included throwing away what should have been race wins for him in, Spain, Monaco, Baku, Great Britain, and Hungary. Yeah. And all of those Ferrari mess-ups have been due to either or a combination of strategy errors and reliability issues. Hopefully, for the sake of all of us F1 fans, Ferrari have figured it out, and Charles Leclerc will go on a nice little run of victories here, something he needs to do, considering, as it stands, Max can sit out the next 3 races and still be in the championship lead, even if Leclerc wins all 3 of those races and also gets fastest lap in all 3 of those races. So Charles Leclerc, got to start winning if you're trying to win the World Drivers' Championship. The third storyline, will Spa's infamous rain impact the race weekend? Last year's downpour at Spa was not an anomaly. Like I mentioned earlier, it once rained for 20 years in a row at the Belgian Grand Prix, and Belgium is a notoriously rainy country. The current race weekend weather forecast calls for rain showers on both Friday and Saturday, with a 20% chance of precipitation on Sunday. So rain could play a huge role in this race weekend because, as we all know from Imola and Canada, wet qualifyings can really shake things up. I guess what I'm trying to say is Haas are about to go 1-2 in Belgium. No Haas delusion syndrome, just vibes. And the final storyline, will this be the last Belgian Grand Prix for a while? I personally really hope not, because I love historic racetracks, and I especially love historic racetracks that actually are capable of featuring good racing. Yeah, I'm throwing shade at you, Monaco. But alas, Spa's status as an F1 circuit moving forward is currently up in the air. As Lewis Hamilton said, cash is king. And with so many lucrative and high-profile circuits getting added to and vying to get added to the F1 calendar and limited space on said calendar, all the venues that are less capable of making money for Formula One are on the chopping block, even if they are beloved circuits, and that unfortunately includes Spa. Let's hope this weekend's race is so unbelievably entertaining and dramatic and good that F1 decide that tradition and entertainment outweigh money, and they decide to keep Spa on the calendar. Please keep Spa on the calendar. Please keep Spa on the calendar, please. No one has a business like yours. With all its strengths and challenges, to succeed, you need a hiring partner that adapts to your needs. You need this episode's sponsor, Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all. Find great talent faster through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US. One of the things I love about Indeed, and one of the reasons we'll be using it for our next hire here at Bolen Media, is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy because they have such an amazing talent pool. In fact, 3 out of 4 US online job seekers search for jobs on Indeed each month, according to ComScore. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/FBone. Offer good for a limited time. This is an amazing deal because when you sponsor an Indeed post in the US, you're 3 times more likely to get a hire, according to Indeed data. So claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/FBONE, Indeed.com/FBone. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. And there's a link for that deal in the description of this episode. Next up, here are my 3 Bone-afide race predictions for the 2022 Belgian Grand Prix that I'm about to go 3 for 3 on. Bone-afide prediction number 1, Max Verstappen will win the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa is a power track through and through, with a ton of elevation change and a super long full throttle section that spans from turn 1, La Source, all the way to turn 7, Les Combes. And Red Bull have proven time and time again this season that their car is the most powerful car on the grid. Max has also proven in Canada that he's more than capable of driving this car well in wet conditions, which it looks like we may have for qualifying. So I expect a big weekend from the man who's won the past 2 races in a row. Bona-fide prediction number 2. Lewis Hamilton's 5-race podium finish streak will end at the Belgian Grand Prix. I know that there are a lot of people out there who are actually predicting Lewis to win this race because of his recent form paired with the flexi floor clampdown. But I personally think that even if the flexi floor clampdown forces Red Bull and Ferrari to change up their setup enough to cause a noticeable performance decrease, which is certainly not certain, it still will not magically propel Mercedes into P1 or even onto the podium in Belgium, because this circuit is a big-time power track, and power is Mercedes' biggest weakness this season. Their car is just not having the same power as Ferrari and Red Bull. So I don't think that Belgium suits their car very well. Now, this prediction kind of relies on me trusting Ferrari's reliability, which feels dumb of me to do, but I'm rolling with it because they've had a full month to get good, and I'm hoping they took advantage of it. And bona fide prediction number 3, Sebastian Vettel will finish in the points at his final Belgian Grand Prix. Crofty's most famous commentary call ever is inarguably, "But here comes Sebastian Vettel!" This call came as Sebastian Vettel overtook pole sitter Lewis Hamilton on Spa's Kemmel Straight during the first lap of the 2018 Belgian Grand Prix on his way to winning the race, and I think Seb will channel those past Spa heroics into a top 10 finish in what will be his final F1 race at this legendary circuit. Those were J-Bone's bona fide race predictions. Now I want to hear your race predictions in the comments section of the YouTube video of this podcast. So let me see your race predictions in the YouTube comments. And if you're not on YouTube, maybe you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can also tweet them at me at Formula Bone. But the YouTube comment section is where everybody posts their race predictions. It's a bussin'. Go check out the YouTube. Also, if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, I would love it if you could toss me a subscription. Be sick. Also, join the Noti Gang. I love the Noti Gang. If you're in the Noti Gang, I love you. Noti Gang, stand up. Finally here today, I'm going to now give my bona fide pre-race weekend predictions for the top 5 finishers in Sunday's Belgian Grand Prix with zero reasoning or explanation. P5, Checo Perez. P4, Lewis Hamilton. P3, Carlos Sainz. P2, Charles Leclerc. And P1, Max Verstappen. That's it for today's episode of the Formula Bone F1 show. If you enjoyed the show and want to help me out, I'd really appreciate it if you could toss me a comment, like, subscription, rating, review, or any other form of engagement on whatever platform you're on right now, so that said platform and its algorithm like me more, show my video to more people. The more people who subscribe to me on YouTube, who comment, who like, the more YouTube goes, oh, this video is dope. I'm going to share it with more people. I'm trying to crack 20,000 views on an episode for the first time ever. I actually don't even think I've cracked 15,000 yet. So I'm trying to crack 15,000 views on my YouTube episodes. So whatever you can do to help me out, I greatly appreciate it. I respond to a lot of YouTube comments, by the way, so leave one and I might respond to it. Speaking of YouTube, if you join the Noti Gang, like I said, I'll love you forever. For Formula One updates between now and my Belgian Grand Prix recap episode, you can join over 600 members of the Bone Brigade in the Formula Bone Discord server via the invite link that I have placed in the description of this episode. Come join the Discord. You can also follow me on all social media at Formula Bone and at my real name, Jared Borislow. That's at JaredBorislow. Until next time, folks, J-Bone!